did it in the 90s, son!
We may not look like it, but we are actually kind of hip.
I'm praying for an asteroid.
And we're live, ladies, gents, boys, and girls. Welcome to a show about Trivia Presents The Countdown, where me, JPO, Jordan Pierce Owens, and a friend sit down and we do, well, a countdown. Top 10 of something of that we're into. And now we're talking about, you might have noticed from the best of the TV shows so far episode, but now we're here all the way with the best of the TV shows of the year 2022 as a whole. I am joined here by Brandon. How are you?
I'm doing great. I'm glad we gave away all our picks in that montage of non-TV shows that came out
yes,
this year.
As soon as I did, I was like, oh, I should do a TV show intro too, but I did not, and it was way too late to do one today.
No, I'm excited. I was nervous about this because, like, our first list the shows were so good, and I was worried that it was just going to be this exact same list, but I'm delighted to say it is nowhere near the same list. So
interesting. Because I don't know if I agree with that personally. I definitely have some newbies, but there's definitely some that have held on for me.
Well, 1, 2. I think I have 4 new ones, 4 or 5 new ones. So it's like almost 50-50.
Yeah, maybe.
Do you have any grasp with last time? What asked like because this really in this day and age it really shows what streaming services you have. Have you added any new streaming services since we've spoke?
Anything new? No. I mean, for the most part, between how we all do between my brother, my dad, and me, I'm pretty set. There's some I will take sabbaticals on. You know, I took a sabbatical of Netflix and Apple for a little bit, and then went back, and once there was stuff I, could get to. So
I go in and out of Apple, like
yeah.
I literally get a month, watch the show, cancel it. I haven't got anything new. I thought about Paramount Plus a few times, but nothing really has pulled me over.
Oh well, we'll talk soon. I might.
There is a show that
I might get you on Paramount Plus.
Well, there's a show that is a big show that's on Paramount Plus. I just haven't got it yet, but I want to watch it just for this one show and counting the spinoffs. If it was the same show we're talking about.
Maybe. Well, do you want to start us off if you have some honorables as well as your number 10 of the year, 2022?
I do. So my honorable mentions this year, we all know I'm not the biggest Ozark guy. I still like it, but I didn't think the season was the best season. I didn't really like the ending. So, but overall, still an entertaining show. So that's an honorable mention. Umbrella Academy was in my list, got bumped off. Still fantastic. She-Hulk, I really actually enjoyed She-Hulk. I know it's people hate it, people loved it. I thought it was weird, and I loved every second of it. I like the weird stuff, like the Marvel stuff. Stranger Things could be on my list any other year, but like there's just so much out there. Winning Time, the Lakers show got kicked off, and then finally I want to shout out. It's kind of a part 1A 1B for this.
I see it. Cheat with 16. I see how it is.
Yeah, I'm cheating again.
You didn't even have 15. Now you got 16?
My last time at 11. I got to cheat. Well, it's Human Resources / Big Mouth.
Okay.
Human Resources might actually come out last year. If it came out this year.
No, it's a this year show.
Okay. I love both of those shows.
And
this year, especially with Human Resources, they did some amazing stuff like dealing with grief. There's an episode about the grief monster. Or grief, I forgot what the monster was, but it's incredible. And my girlfriend comes in, she's like, "Why are you crying?" And you're watching Big Mouth, and I'm like, "This show it's one of my favorite episodes of the year."
Interesting.
And then I watched The Sopranos, but that's something come out this year. So my number 10, which was number. We're doing that, or we're doing like the comparison to the previous year, or just doing it.
You can. I don't have that because I just updated my list. On the same dock and whatnot, so yeah. I don't know.
This is my number 9, and it went up, but then other things came out and it went back down. So I'm going Severance. I had it low on the first half because it hadn't ended yet, and then it ended. And then if we did that list, it would have been way higher. But so much has come out that it's pushed it down. But it's still amazing, great. I can't wait for the next season. It's so weird. It's so original. It's a great concept. It's well acted. It has just enough in it, like enough mystery. Not that you feel like sometimes when shows have too much mystery, you just feel dragged around. This just like you want to get to the bottom of it, but you want to know what's going on. And it's just so well done. You wouldn't think Ben Stiller would have anything to do with it. Adam Scott does an amazing job acting. Everyone else, John Turturro, I love John Turturro. Just so good in the show, and it's just if you want something weird, it is weird, but it's well worth the ride. Severance.
Very nice, very nice. My number 10, we're gonna jump over to Hulu for Only Murders in the Building here. I've thought for years Martin Short should get a TV show, and then he did with John Mulaney. It was horrible. But now we have a great one with him and Steve Martin. It's a great two-hander there. It's even a three-hander, really, because Selena Gomez has really surprised me as somebody I've quite enjoyed in this show and the arc that she's building here. Yeah, a season 2 that also definitely sets up a season 3 potentially if they so choose to do so here, which I do hope they do because it's hilarious. There's a bit of stakes out here as well. Here, you definitely feel in this season, and it's another one too that has kind of done what some great TV shows do. You got a couple of episodes that were really nice about backstories of B characters who you even met back in season 1 that I thought were really well done here. So, show I've really dug. Only Murders in the Building. What do you got at number 9?
It's been my blind spot since season 1. Like there's no reason I shouldn't watch this show.
Nathan Lane's so good. Come on.
Yeah, there's no reason I shouldn't watch the show, and I have no excuse. So this is on my definitely on my. Maybe we'll do like a wrap up. I don't know. We'll probably talk TV again, so maybe I'll talk about this. Hopefully, I'll get around to seeing it. My number 9 is one Star Wars show got kicked off. One Star Wars show got put back on. We're going with Andor for number 9. This is how you do a Star Wars or a Marvel show. It's related to the movies, but it's pulled enough away where it's not relying on cameos, not relying on fan service and stuff like that. And they're telling this original story that didn't need to be told, but it's so interesting, and it's just an amazing. Has action in it. It's got espionage. It's got politics. It does have some cameos in it. Some characters from the original trilogy pop in, but it doesn't rely on them, and it builds. Some of these characters were background characters that were in like one scene in the original Star Wars, and then they branch them out, give them full life, and it's just so well done. It's gorgeous. It's thrilling. It's just edge of the seat, great ride, and it's just so well. This is how shows. Because Marvel and Star Wars, like I watch them all, I like them all, but too often they just kind of rely on like, hey, there's a character you saw in that one movie. Hey, there's a character you saw in that movie, and it's just like, oh, he's here, he's finally here, and then it's just less about the story. And this does such a good job of like actually diving deep into the story of the rebellion, and it's just beautiful.
Oh, very nice. That's a Star Wars show I haven't seen yet, so I know you're not alone in definitely the love for it here. And I know I'm not alone in liking my number 9 because it's your number 10. It's Severance, which I think at the time of the halfway, I think maybe I just started it or was about to because I think
I had it. In the middle of it, yeah.
So it wasn't, I don't think, on my list at the time here, but it has something I have gone back to and definitely binged kind of the last several in a row here. Just a really unique premise here, and to kind of go off your Ben Stiller thing, he's been doing some interesting things on television. Like he did a show with as a director with Patricia Arquette, which is like with Paul Dano and Arquette, that's completely not comedy. So he's starting to try different things there. I think TV has been a platform where you can do different things there. Everyone's been really interesting. Like you said, there's a lot, but not too overwhelmingly enough kind of going on here, trying to figure out what's going on with Turturro, with Walken. Even Zach Cherry, who I think otherwise is just known as the Shang-Chi guy that films on the the subway. He's quite good in this as well. He finds out about his other self that has a kid that like really sticks in his craw, and like you can see that in him. And I like what's going on with the main girl that's in it. Her problems and trying to get out of this place even now. And it's interesting, and it definitely leaves you ready for season 2. Number 9, Severance.
Perfect. Number 8, another show on my list from dropped a few spots, but still on there. I'm going with Our Flag Means Death. The Rhys Darby, Taika Waititi pirate comedy from HBO. Still hilarious. Still sticks in my mind. Taika Waititi, as you know, took a little hit this year from Thor, but whenever people complain about that, I just push him onto this because he is so good in this. He's so funny in this. It's complete different than what you know of Blackbeard. Again, it's about the gentleman pirate. A true story about about a guy who was like a hoity-toity rich British not oligarch, but like a British guy who's like, you know what, I don't want this money anymore, and he just wants to live a life of crime at sea and wants to be a pirate so badly. And then he runs into Blackbeard. There's Blackbeard right there, and it's so weird but funny and charming and heartfelt at the same time. It's just a blast.
Very good. As I was saying to you, if you would like to try to find a free subscription to Paramount Plus, I do recommend it because my number 8 is Tulsa King, which has just come out in the last month or so. Yes, Sylvester Stallone is the guy who's been in jail for a very long time, lost connection with his daughter, never got to meet his grandkids because he's the dude that was promised, hey, we'll take care of you when you come out. He gets out, and they kind of send him to the the doldrums of Tulsa. They kind of in a way to just kind of brush him off, and it could be a bit gritty, but there's a lot of charm in this as well. Some decent laughs, another good, there's a good villain or two at play here, and there's just a lot of different things. I almost don't want to get too far into between some of the family back at home not liking him, the struggles with that family, a bit of Godfather-esque there with the father issues, and more going on now at Tulsa. There's 2 love interests at play here for him. Martin Starr, who may or may not be playing the same Silicon Valley character, a Silicon Valley character. That's a weird thing, but they made reference to that. I'll tell you it's a joke, but I'll tell you. And he starts stealing from another person via, like hacking into them. And they're like, how'd you do that? He's like, I worked at a startup company. And he's very much playing the same character. You could obviously it's just a joke and a wink to the audience. But I like to actually read into it and go, no, that's a character. He got a new name. He went to Tulsa because it's pretty much Martin Starr playing that same character. Yeah. It's interesting. It's another good one where it was one that I didn't get to binge because it was something I kept having to tune into week after week, which is always another good sign when you're kind of hooked and you're waiting for that next episode, almost like TV back in the day. We used to always have to do that.
Yeah, I enjoy it. I enjoy the week to week. That's why I like the Disney stuff because it makes it more thrilling. Yeah, I didn't see this because I got it confused with that because there was another Sylvester Stallone streaming movie.
With Martin Starr. Funny enough,
he's in that too.
Yeah, he's in that too.
Oh, and that was supposed to be bad. So then I was like, is this the same thing?
It's mediocre. It's watchable, but I wouldn't if you're bored and have Amazon Prime, go for it. But Tulsa King, I'd say slightly go out of your way. It's worth it.
Okay, I add it to my list.
Yeah.
All right. Another repeat coming up from my list last time. We're going with number 7. We're going with The Boys. I love this show, and I will watch. And also, The Boys. Shout out to The Boys. Diabolical too, as another honorable mention. I
gotta see that. I haven't seen that.
That one's just it's just random animated shows based on The Boys universe, and there's one by Justin Roiland that's incredible. Everyone's a different director, but The Boys, this might be my favorite season of The Boys so far. Some things happen with the Butcher, where he's a little bit more of a threat to Homelander now. We got Jensen Ackles coming in as Soldier Boy, who I think is great in this show. The stakes are higher now, and they're paying off. It's still gross. Every season they try to one-up themselves. Like a guy, spoiler, in the first episode, a guy goes in a giant penis shrinks down and goes into a penis that they actually made, this giant penis, and then they pull off the what if Ant-Man just went inside of Thanos. The boys will do that. So if you have any questions about why don't superheroes just do this, the boys answers that question, and it just satisfies the itch of in this day and age of like superhero stuff. It's just like we're gonna do everything different than everybody else, and it makes it. Oh, there's another one. We'll talk about it later, but it just. Again, I say a blast in all these, but all these shows are just fun, and that's why I like them, because they stick in my mind, and I will counting down the days. This is another show that like this one I like dread having to wait week to week because it's just like I want more and more and more, just like overwhelm me with the boys. That sounds weird, but yeah. This is another show that just like counting down the days for season 4, season 5. More spinoffs are coming out. So again,
V's coming.
Yeah, this is going to be a big franchise.
No doubt. For my number 7, I believe a repeat of mine. Yeah, I guess you really should get Paramount because I think this is also a Paramount one.
Yeah.
The Offer, based on the making of The Godfather here, and I think, like I said before, a few months ago, to me, it's kind of the blend of two of my favorite things. It's of course one, the making of a movie, and Hollywood and trying to get these actors and people fighting against it. They didn't want Pacino. He's this theater actor. We want this guy. You know what I mean? Brando's fucking weird. Getting him to do the movie here, and then there is truly real life gangster tactics to this. People do die in this show here, you know what I mean? Giovanni Ribisi is one of the main crime bosses. Originally doesn't want a movie made about the mafia, and first rebels against it, and then later on even is good with it. But now that he likes the guy, he likes Miles Teller, who I think is a fantastic actor, he becomes friends with him, and that causes its own problems. That's a fun turn. And again, just another great cast at play. Juno Temple, who's also in Ted Lasso, is absolutely great in this here. Dan Fogler, who plays Francis Ford Coppola, is really good. So this is another one that went on my list. I thought it might stay, and it did. Number 7, The Offer. Yeah,
another one in my blind spot. I'll have a fun free month coming up.
There's some stuff that, and I like Ink Master. That's also on Paramount if you want to watch Ink Master.
I do like Ink Master.
Yeah, and this season, because it's Paramount, they get to curse on Paramount.
Hell yeah, bro! Yeah. Get a show about trivia.
Yeah,
okay, yeah. Number 6, another a new show. New show alert. On the something I just watched. It came out earlier this year. I think it came out actually before the list, but I just watched it. Yeah, perfect. Called New Show. We're going with The Bear, a show that makes me never, ever, ever want to work in a kitchen, ever. It's about, if you don't know what The Bear is, on Hulu, about a Michelin star chef whose brother passes away, and he has to come home and work in his brother's Italian beef restaurant in Chicago, which is not a Michelin star restaurant. And this show is the most thrilling and anxiety-inducing show I've seen in a long time. Like when they're cooking stuff and somebody spills something, and then they're like, "We need 4 beefs," and they're screaming at each other. Like, it's a lot of yelling, but it's for everything I've read too, it's really what it is like to work in a kitchen. Like, it's that high stakes at all times. If you mess something up, you can lose a customer. So you have to, stay on the ball. They set it up very interesting for season 2, because I think this was a smash hit. So I definitely think we're going to season 2. Forgot the main actor's name, Jeremy. He has 3 names, whatever. It doesn't matter, but he is fantastic on the show. Jeremy Allen White, he's fantastic on the show. It's just so authentic. It's one of those shows that's just so authentic. Like, you can tell. Sometimes you'll watch a show about like gangsters, be like, the writers, I don't think we're ever gangsters, or like you'll watch a show about things, but like, you can tell that the people who worked on the show have experience in the kitchen. I have no experience in the kitchen. I never ever want to work in the kitchen after watching the show, but my dad and I watched this in 2 days, and and now we only call ourselves chef. We go, "Yeah, chef. Thank you, chef," because of this show. And it was 2 days of just like, there's only 8 episodes or 6 episodes. Like, we need more. So yeah, and it's only a half hour, so it's a quick watch. You can do it in a day or two, but highly recommend it.
Nice. Jeremy Allen White, by the way, in one of my most anticipated movies of the year this year, Iron Claw, all about the Von Erich family.
Oh, hell yeah.
Yeah, he's gonna play Carrie, and Zac Efron's gonna play Kevin. So yeah, I'm looking forward to that. Yeah, but yeah, The Bear. That's another one, man. I know you're definitely not alone in this. I've heard several people put this on their top 10, top 5 of the year. So yeah, this is one I'll
it's so different too. Like a show about a kitchen that's not a reality show.
Yeah. My number 6, definitely a stay over from earlier. HBO's Barry with, of course, Bill Hader at the helm here, man. I've always enjoyed Bill Hader, even in things like the Skeleton Twins. Got to show a little bit more of a dramatic side here. This and an even different side here. I mean, you believe he could murder you, and he's going through some withdrawals here. It doesn't always go the way you think it's going to go, which is, of course, fantastic. And there's a couple scenes this season. There's a scene between Henry Winkler and his ex-girlfriend's dad, who's trying to find out who killed his daughter. And it is, to me, one of the greatest scenes I've seen this year, the last 10 years. There's just you got to see it. It's almost an interrogation scene, but yeah, it's beautifully done. Henry Winkler, again, another guy who, of course, we all know and love. He gets to play something different than I think I personally have ever seen him play before here. Also, shout out to Anthony Kerrigan as NoHo Hank, one of my favorite kind of side characters here. Man, I love him. I got a feeling he was supposed to die in season 1, and it's just one of those guys where
I think it was a Jesse Pinkman situation. I think they've
100%.
Yeah,
because he's even pretty thoroughly shot in episode 1 or 2, and then I think they were just nah, we love this dude because he's one of those guys that you could, not that it's forced for him to stick around, but you can definitely tell it they could easily write him out if they had to, but he's so good you got to keep him around. And he had an interesting arc this year too of falling in love with another crime boss. Yeah, and there's even a really heartbreaking scene there with that towards the end. So really interested because supposedly I think next season is the last season if I'm not mistaken. And
it seems like they're getting to the.
I think they definitely have an end game. They're not gonna just go.
Yeah, it feels like it's
canceled. I think there's an arc, where they're all right. So I think we're approaching the end here, and it's gonna be interesting. Yeah, it ended on a very interesting note. So where it's gonna go, I don't know, but I'm in it so far here, man. We're now at the top of the list, the top half rather. What you got at number 5?
Another repeat. I think fell a few spots. This was my number 3 last year or last time. Dropped a little bit. I mentioned The Boys as a superhero show, doing things differently. Well, this show does everything differently. I'm going with the one and only Peacemaker as my number 5 spot. Again, this crazy time because this could be my favorite show ever in any other year. But there's just so much good stuff coming out that it's just hard to. Hard to stay at the top. But this, no knock on this for dropping. This show is, again, I'm probably talking about it in a little bit, I'm guessing too. A spinoff of a character no one's ever heard of from a movie. And then he was so good in the movie that they're like, we have to just keep going. He was so good in the Suicide Squad. We have to do more. And it's more than just a spinoff of this character that nobody knows of. We get so much heart. I was shocked John Cena didn't get any nominations or buzz or anything. He does such a good job portraying the trauma from his father and the weight of having to be a hero, and he's more than just this loudmouthed, obnoxious killer. He has a lot of heart to him, and there's a lot of heart in this show, a lot of laughs in this show, a lot of gross stuff in this show. And it just balances everything perfectly. And it hurts to be at 5, but it has to be. It has to be done.
You want to see my John Cena impression? See, mine's actually a lazier. I was just gonna do this.
Oh, that's good too. Well, I still see you.
Damn you, StreamYard! You're ruining.
I can see you.
Coming in at my number 5 here, you had an honorable, and I do agree with a lot of what you said, but it's still good enough to want to make my list here. I got to go with Ozark here. Yeah, like I said, I don't disagree with what you said. It's not my favorite season. Other seasons probably in the top 2 to 3 range. And yeah, there's some problems I have with the ending here. Not, I don't want to say a cop out, but it definitely does feel like, oh, you're hoping for. No, we got one more season. Kind of like, I feel like in a few years they're gonna do.
They definitely put a movie or something.
They're gonna do a movie. They're gonna pull a Dexter. They're just gonna give like a subtitle, and then go, see, it doesn't count, So, yeah, Ozark, New Blood, whatever, So, but there's still enough, you're still very intrigued until that very end, to see what's going on, with this family who, in their own way has broken bad. Even some revelations, with the son who kind of seemed like the heart so far, maybe him not totally being on the up and up as well. So yeah, it's still good enough here, what I mean? Jason Bateman, Lenny, all giving great performances to make my number 5 as you talk about your number 4.
Number 4, we got another repeat. You had it at number 6. I have it at number 4. I'm going with Barry.
Yeah.
Shocking, actually, crazy stat. This is my number 1 in the mid-year.
Ooh.
And it fell again. They didn't fall. Just things kind of, surpassed it. And honestly, it could be because of the fact that I binged this show. Although I binged other shows too. But like it's 10 episodes. It's quick. So like this is a show I would definitely like. It's better when you watch it week to week. I watched the first couple seasons week to week. The third one I kind of fell off, and I had to like cram it because you don't get time to like digest all the stuff that's going on. It has, like you said, a lot of characters playing out of type, doing it so well. It has some of the most, like the girlfriend character is my least favorite character on television. Like season 1, when they dive into like the annoying actors, and she does such a good job of like just being like an annoying actor who thinks she's the hot shit, and she's just like the worst. And Barry's just the best, and you love him, but he's a horrible human being, but he's also a great human being, and it just has that, like the weight and the balance of it. And again, like this is one of the shows that's like, there's a lot of shows that's like, I don't want it to end. This show is like, I want to see where they're going. Like, I'm so interested in the story. It's like, I would like to see the end because I want to see how this story wraps up. Not that I want it to end. I want to see I'm like ready for the conclusion.
No, I know what you mean. I want
to know where they're going. Yeah.
Yeah.
So, it seems like you said, like it makes sense. Like Ted Lasso, they said it's a 3-season arc. It's like, no, keep going with that. This one's like, okay, where are they going with? I want to see like, is Barry going to get out of this? Is he gonna, what's going to happen here? So it does seem like next season is going to be like maybe the last. So I'm excited for that. I'm excited to see how they pull it off, and we have probably some thrilling TV coming up. Number 4, Barry.
Coming to number 4, going to Netflix, who stole this from YouTube. Cobra Kai. Cobra Kai, just very. This is the epitome of just like, I think the only complaint you could have is there is some storylines that are kind of blending in from season to a degree. So I don't know if it's going to keep holding up. If they do another 2 to 3, there's kind of also a season where I'm like, maybe they should wrap this up to a degree. But so far, I'm having a lot of fun with it here. Bringing back older characters here, who also too, as a guy that has not seen those movies really in full, maybe one of them like when I was a kid, they do a really good job of giving you background of who these characters are. This is a show I do recommend, even if you have no love or care for the Karate Kid movies. This is still a series you can very much get into. I thought the main baddie for this season was great. Of course, we got the other baddie getting his slow kind of come back here. Whether he's good or bad is also another good question up in the air here. So just it's one that I just very easy to binge, throw in a couple 2-3 episodes a night, have fun. The kid characters I think are all really fun here. The one kid is going to be Blue Beetle evidently, which is kind of cool. So that's cool that he's getting a big part in that, which supposedly is good rep. So it's supposed to be an HBO Max movie, but it's getting a theater release now, which is cool for him. So Cobra Kai.
Add this to my 9th honorable mention. I don't know how it's for me. It's just a little like there's a lot of like when it's Johnny on the screen, it's like my favorite show. When it delves into Johnny, I love it. Some of their stuff, it's like, but it's brilliant. It's so good. This show shouldn't be good, but it is.
Yeah, and I shouldn't love it as much. Like I said, with a guy that doesn't care about the movies, I shouldn't love it as much as I do. But it just shows you how good just
Do you
the
like
writing and the characters
because it
are.
feels like an '80s movie, and they pull it off so well.
It's a lot of fun. And shout out to my boy Fred Ernst, who plays the other like brother-in-law car dealer guy.
Shout out. We love
Yeah,
it.
I love
Okay.
you, Brett.
Number 3, a show. I got sick over Thanksgiving, and I was gonna watch a movie. And instead of a movie, I got recommended, hey, you should watch season 1 of this show because season 2 just came out. I was like, okay, I'll watch season 1. And I watched season 1, and then we're like, okay, I watched it in one day. We went into season 2. We watched the 3 episodes, and we watched it again week to week. And this helped the show, I think, being week to week. I'm going with The White Lotus. And this show is one of those shows that is like, it's so much fun because it's gotten a lot of reputation in this second season, and it reminds you of like, it's not as mysterious as like a show like Lost, but it reminds you of like the heyday of watching a show week to week. And now for me, that was Lost, where it's like everyone had theories of what's going on, what's going to happen. A lot of them were wrong, a lot of them were right. Like in this show, it was so much fun being part of the discussion every week with this season. And again, it's a show that could go on forever because it's kind of anthology where every season is different. I heard some characters from season 1 are coming in season 3. But we got Christopher from The Sopranos, big cast, some big names, some people you've never heard of before that do such a. Aubrey Plaza does a fantastic job in this. F. Murray Abraham is fantastic in this.
Is this why he's not on Mystic Quest?
Maybe, because he kind of disappeared from that. But again, it's so well done. It's so different from season 1 too. It has a different like theme to it. And like when we're talking about honeymoon spots right now, and we're like, where do you want to go? And I was like, let's just go to where the White Lotus season 2 was. Like, it looks so awesome in Italy there on the beach. It's just such a great show, and I can't wait for season 3 and see where they go with that. White Lotus, HBO.
Very nice. Yeah, definitely one. I almost started this the other day, actually. Like, I was on HBO and I was about to click it, and then I was like, oh, I don't have enough time. I'll watch like a sitcom real quick or something. So yeah, definitely got
I do that
to
so
get to it.
times.
Yeah, because it's one of those where I'm like, I don't want to just half-ass watch the first one, or I have to like leave the first episode and like do something else. So I was like,
yeah, and then you never get to it
until exactly, like now watch me.
I've done the
next
same
year.
thing.
Next year, after you talk about how good season 3 is, I'm like, yeah, I still haven't started. Yeah.
Yeah, when The Offer 2 comes out,
weird
like, oh, finally, I'll watch it.
Yeah, me and you both. Yeah, I'll tell you how good The Offer is. You'll tell me how good White Lotus is, and then we'll never watch them. But one show we both will watch probably next year for its next season, because I also have it, is The Boys. Man, I mean, come on, this is one again, just so hyped for the return. It's literally like something I might have even had it in my calendar on my phone, like The Boys, a new episode drop, because I love the cast here. Carl Urban is so damn good here. You mentioned the addition of Jensen Ackles, who's again really kind of, hate to say it, a fun, horrible piece of shit to watch. You know what I mean? Like if you're in love with him, if you're in love with him from Supernatural, be careful, because you might break your heart here. And I think I said this at the halfway point here too. Paul Reiser kind of stole the show for me in his episodes, which I didn't see coming. I thought he was really fun as well, very vulgar, like Hollywood guy. You continue the story here, some good fight scenes. You've already mentioned giant penises and entering and exiting certain things. It's bloody. It is definitely not for kids. I don't know, that goes without saying, but yeah, it is the most R-rated, but most R-rated goodness out there here. So yeah, The Boys definitely had to make the list. For number 3 is going to your number 2.
My number 2 is a show that I said I'll keep an eye on when we did the first half, but I kind of wasn't too excited because of how the other series ended. And then I am happy to say that I think this, I don't know if I like it better than its original series, but this is one of the stronger seasons of it. I am going with the top TV shows of 2022. Number 2, as Jordan is showing.
Inception.
Inception.
It was the next recommended video. Just like, yeah, let's see how this looks. Oh my god, look! Oh my god, the boxes keep going.
Okay, let's just screw my top pick.
I just
Put up
want to see
House
how
of the
this
Dragon
looks.
on the bottom. Let's just watch this.
Look at
Okay,
the
we're gonna.
boxes.
How small we're gonna go? I'll just keep talking. Play this. Keep it going. I'll keep talking.
Yeah.
So, House of the Dragon is my pick. Again, I love Game of Thrones, but some of the seasons leave a bad taste in my mouth. A lot of people's mouths. So I was like, why are they doing something different? Why are they bringing this back when we've already seen it? This is so.
Oh my god.
This is hard to talk about. But again, it's like, why are they, bringing this? They ruined the franchise. Why are they doing this? There's another book I didn't read, but they has maybe one of my favorite seasons of the George R.R. Martin shows. The show is brilliant. It's definitely my number one of shows I need to see season 2 of. Like now, I cannot wait for season 2, and it's not coming until 2024, which is ridiculous. But this show is so good, and I was talking about it, and I think it's because it basically it takes place just in the Targaryen house. And we basically we really only follow 2 or 3 characters. So we really get a lot more time with these characters. And when Game of Thrones, near the end, we were going every which way to like 10, 15 characters, right? So this season does such a more streamlined job. It still does the time jumps, which I wasn't crazy about in the later seasons of Game of Thrones, but it does it much better here because it gets to like the really important stuff in this conflict that is going on. And there is some gas moments. There's some good action moments. There's some cry-worthy moments. There's some cheer-worthy moments. And it's awesome. The show is so good. And it's really like, if you're worried about it because you're like, well, Game of Thrones, the ending was bad, I don't want to get back into that world. They erase that stink, and it's peak Game of Thrones. It is peak George R.R. Martin. Like the good stuff of Game of Thrones, this has all that. It doesn't rely on the shock moments. It doesn't rely on like the gore. It has all that in there, but it's just such an interesting character piece of this dynamic of like who is gonna take over the throne in a different way than it is last year. It's a lot smaller, and that lets the show like the characters breathe a little more. Matt Smith and all the Patty Bimberton, whatever his name is, it's so good in the show, and I love the show. And I didn't think I would, and yeah, it's my number 2.
Very nice. I promise to watch it as soon as I finish Game of Thrones. Number 2 here. You talked about it. Peacemaker, man. Of course, I'm going to have the John Cena star here. You already kind of mentioned the very organic concept of this show, which was just simply James Gunn really loving the character from the movie and going, I want to do more with it. There's even a point where it seemed like they were going to maybe do a prequel and try to get it out before Suicide Squad as a hype machine. And then they realized they're going to need a lot more time than that. So it's become a kind of a sequel to Suicide Squad. From the intro, which makes you not want to press skip intro for once. It's just to the group of teams I love. What's the Vigilante? Yeah,
Vigilante is the best.
Oh my
god!
Yesterday,
happy birthday to him yesterday.
Oh really? Oh, well, the actor or Vigilante the character?
The actor, yeah. I saw James
yeah, dude. Shout out to him who steals it, especially once his mask is taken off, and you get even more of that character here. I love when his mask. That first time his mask gets taken off. What are you doing? I can't recognize my face. I'm constantly changing it. It's just hilarious here. Yeah, man. And like you said, there's some true like acting moments here. Maybe between the struggle of this is why you kind of see him as a kind of a shitty guy in a way in Suicide Squad. Mm-hmm. Not even being in a way, like he's a shitty guy. He does what he does to Joel Kinnaman and whatnot. But with Robert Patrick as his dad and whatnot, and I know that kind of in the boys in the vein of like it's a good, just really great R-rated time. So number 2, Peacemaker, as now we are at the echelon. Your favorite show of the year 2022.
I think we finally did it. I think I hope we did this in the last countdown we did.
I don't know.
I believe we did it. I want to say it together, but I don't want to ruin it. My number 1 is Better Call Saul.
Better Call Saul! Yay! We do agree.
We did it! Number 1. I had this, I think 2. I had it 2 last time. I believe you had it 1 last time.
Yeah, it didn't move for me, man. I love it.
Yeah, for me though, because it wasn't over yet. So for me, it wasn't over yet. That's why I was like, I want to see how they stick the land. I believe there was still like a week or two left when we did our first one. So that's why I didn't put it number one. But the finale has been out, and it is perfection. And it is so good. And it becomes, again, it's still, in my mind, it's not better than Breaking Bad, but it's,
I agree.
But it's close. Like it really could be, like, and calling it a Breaking Bad spinoff is almost, does disservice to it, because it's more than that. Like when it first came out, we're like, oh, it's gonna be a fun little spinoff we're gonna see, like kind of like Peacemaker. Oh, it's gonna be a fun little. It was like, no, we have so much more story to tell here with this character. Bob Odenkirk is phenomenal as Saul. He is Saul. He lets his character breathe. We had to see every decision he makes is just like, you're like, no, don't do that. Don't do that. Okay, do that. And just like watching his brain work, and you're like, how is he going to get out of this? And he does, and he doesn't, and he does, and he doesn't. And then the way they wrap it up is just perfect. It's like, they didn't go over the top with it. They didn't go like a cheesy ending with it. I feel like they wrapped it up so just in a perfect bow that like they still could like do more with it if they really wanted to, but they respect the character enough. They're like, this is it. This is the end of it. This is how it's going to be. Where it's going to go. Kind of know where it's going to move on, where his life's going to go from there. And we're just going to let this character go to rest. And like now we have like our final, the Breaking Bad. And it closes off Breaking Bad perfectly too. Like better than El Camino did. Like now that saga is officially wrapped up. And like I should have been number one last time, but again, I was a little nervous just because like going into the finale, you never know what they're gonna do in these series finales. But Vince Gilligan, I should have trusted him. But this should have been my number one beforehand. But my number one now. And Jordan, what's your number one?
Just give me a second. Let me change this graphic real quick and click. My number one is Better Call Saul. Yeah, man. It's funny. My story with Better Call Saul is pretty much verbatim my story with Breaking Bad, which is everyone put it. I slept on it. I didn't get around to it, and then just finally, like, kind of just sat down, and like once you kind of get a few in, you're in it, man. And I went from seeing almost none of it from late last year to now, being completely caught up, and then it becoming at the very end a weekly thing, which is exactly what happened with Breaking Bad. I literally only watched it on a weekly basis in the last season. Not a bad way to watch it though, until you finally get caught up and you're like, I need more, because shout out to Michael McKean, who obviously wasn't really in the season much, but he's so good as Chuck McGill. Again, Michael McKean, you might only know from comedies. You get more Gustavo, Lalo, Tony Dalton is so good. Poor Michael Mando and Nacho, you almost want them to give him a cookie cutter ending, because you get what situation he's in, and then the stuff with his dad too is heartbreaking. Patrick Fabian. Oh my God, so good. Patrick Fabian as Howard has a great last scene. He's really delivering it here. Of course, you get more Mike, and Jonathan Banks, which is always cool. Happy to see him. I love the off episodes with him and the other guys who are building the new bunker here. It's a great little sideline. And then of course the relationship just between him and Kim, Rhea Seehorn. Oh, so good. And, like you said here, too, this is a finale that truly it stuck the landing. It didn't feel the need to either A, not wrap it up, or B, go crazy. There's still some quiet moments in the finale, which is nice that they have that much faith. And this shows you how good Breaking Bad is, that it's both our number ones, and we're still saying Breaking Bad might eke it out, because we had several same ones, but they were all kind of all over the place. But we both agree. There's just the writing on this, the direction on this here. Even, help me out. Who was the old lady that he tricks in the end, too? Carol Burnett, like seeing her guest starring arc with
like two episodes.
And her and Pat Healy, her son, who's another character actor I really like here too. You know what I mean? And seeing the outcome of what his character is, and again, he's never like bad as far as Walter is, but it's another kind of like just the degradation of this character who kind of becomes, what the hype, and he becomes kind of the thing that he doesn't want to be, but people assume he is. I love the relationship with the brother. That was so good. And so
never stop rooting for him. Like Walter, like becomes full now.
Yeah. No,
Yeah.
yeah, it's another one where because same thing with like Nacho. Like I'm sure Nacho was a guy. You see him in episodes. Beat the shit out of a guy because that's what he was supposed to do. You know what I mean? Because of the
Exactly.
situation he's in, and it's kind of
Mhm.
like that. It's and there's a great episode where they're in the desert. There's just so many good things here, and the last season it lived up to it. Here, there's really not this and Breaking Bad are both good examples of like I'd have to go back and really look at it, but I don't think there's like a bad season off the top of my head. You know what I mean? Like, and the last season is the same thing can be said.
Yeah, and again, I think this show, like you talked about Howard's last scene. After that happened, we had to wait like 2 months.
Yeah.
And so being a weekly thing, like letting moments like that breathe is what makes shows like this better than I think a lot of streaming shows, because you got like sitting on things is important. I think like letting moments soak in, and that's what that moment alone like made the show at the top for me.
I'm with you, man. Let's see that top 10 again.
Okay, at number 18 we have at number 10 we have Severance. At number 9 we have Andor. At 8 we have Our Flag Means Death. At number 7 we have The Boys. At number 6 we have The Bear. At number 5 we have Peacemaker. At 4 we have Barry. At 3 we have The White Lotus. At 2 we have House of the Dragon. And number 1 we have Better Call Saul.
Very nice. As for me in the year 2022, we got number 10 is Only Murders in the Building. Number 9, Severance. 8, the Tulsa King. Number 7, The Offer. Number 6, Barry. Number 5, Ozark. 4, Cobra Kai. 3, The Boys. 2, Peacemaker. And number 1, Better Call Saul. Some good stuff here. Before we go, I do also want to ask your quick opinion on this. Between these or anything else that you might know of, are you sad or do you care at all that any of these shows look like they're not coming back?
Let's see. So I loved season 1 of MODOK. I thought it was a lot of fun. Me and as well as everyone else on the planet loved season 1 of Westworld, and I liked season 2 was okay. I heard it got 4 seasons in, right? Yeah, because Aaron Paul was in 2 of them. So like season 4 came out and like people were saying it returned to form. So I said, okay. So like I was about to start watching it, season 3 and 4.
Yeah, there's 4.
And then it got canceled. So I was like, okay, I will. And now I can't watch it because it's taken off of HBO Max. But
it is really.
It got pulled randomly. Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah, it was a big thing where they pulled it off. I don't know why, but yeah, again, a big fall from grace has a lot of Heroes vibes to that, like big fall from grace. Made for Love, I was interested in that. Didn't get around to it. Space Force, never saw. I don't know what any of this other. Here We Roll. I love Pete Holmes.
It honestly, it's like a small stop above the John Mulaney show. I love Pete Holmes, but this was like every 90s sitcom you've seen. He's got a life, and he's got buddies at the bowling alley, and he's a ne'er-do-well. Like it's fine, but like I'm not heartbroken. It's gone.
And Snowpiercer got canceled or it wrapped up?
I feel like it was labeled technically as a cancellation. I feel like that's kind of what I had read. I could be wrong. I also had the Kelly Kuko show on this, and I was told that was wrong. So I don't know.
That got wrapped up. Yeah, because you always see those like shows that Netflix got canceled. It's like,
yeah, it's like, well, that's not true. Yeah, exactly. So I tried to having the right list here. If I'm wrong, sorry.
Well, if Snowpiercer gets wrapped up, then I'm still interested in that. I saw the movie, but I've never seen the show. But I've always been interested in it. So if it actually got wrapped up, then I'd be more interested. If it gets canceled, there's just so much to watch that's like,
oh yeah,
time to watch 4 seasons of a show that doesn't have an ending. So it's like I'll never watch season 3 and 4 of Westworld just because it doesn't wrap it up. So it's not worth it for me.
We'll see. It's one of those like I just had a hard time getting through 3. That like I never got there, and like you said, now that 4 is out.
And 4 would be good. From everything I heard, like 4 was like a lot better than 3 and 2. But
I'm going to check it out. Yeah, and I mean, as for me, this is literally in order of kind of what I will miss the most. The first three are all just good sitcoms. They were okay. They had their moments, but nothing great. Roswell is more of a fan of the original. It's the only reason it's on here that I actually tried it. Space Force was kind of sad just because I felt like kind of like a lot of sitcoms, The Office, Big Bang Theory, Parks and Rec. It was actually the best season. It was definitely a notch above season one.
Growing, yeah.
It was growing. They were finding what made the characters funny. They were finding the right, writers and everything. And now it's gone. So I was like, oh damn! I feel like if it had been canceled after season one, I would have been way more less sad than I am now because I'm like, I was finding a groove. Made for Love was interesting. I actually didn't finish it. Woke felt like it was too much like season one, so I didn't finish season two. Snowpiercer, I'm also on season one. Duncanville was a fun cartoon. Amy Poehler was the mom. It fit in there right with that kind of Bob's Burger Simpsons, lineup here. But like I'm not terribly heartbroken. Yeah, I had fun with MODOK. I'm sad we won't see more because I love kind of different takes on Marvel and DC, and this was an R-rated cartoon take with Patton Oswalt as the lead, and I was down for it. Westworld's high because, like you said, I was really high on the first season. I like season two. I was still very, very much trying to root for it, and then like I said, kind of get lost in season three. And my most disappointment is actually the last OG with Tracy Morgan. This was funny. This was different. Dramatic side of Tracy Morgan that we haven't seen before, as well as just being the normal Tracy Morgan as well here. But I thought it was a really interesting view of kind of some of that inner city life and the balance between that and his kids who are also raised by a more well-off white man, and the balance between that. And again, unfortunately, very much a show that doesn't have a finale. It very much has a cliffhanger, which sucks, for anyone that's a fan of those characters in that show.
Yeah, I'm gonna add my number one. I'm gonna petition Netflix right now. Bring back Mindhunter. It got canceled like 3 years ago, but I just watched it.
You know what? I'm so salty about Fireflies. If someone can get on that,
I just watched it this year, and I was like, why? It was another thing. I was like, why am I watching it? It doesn't have an ending. And like, halfway through season 2, I'm like tweeting
there is an ending. It's called Serenity.
Like, bring it back. And they want to. That's still in limbo.
Yeah.
So shout out Mindhunter.
Well, my good man, any plugs or parting words for you?
I do nothing. Find me on things. Challenge me to random, Full Metal Random. We have when's our spelling bee coming? We have a spelling bee coming up.
I feel like it's soonish because I feel like Malcolm talked about writing it and maybe testing it with other people soon. So I feel like it's a little bit of random. I mean, much credit to Malcolm for taking that all on, but it does take a while sometimes.
Also, a plug: if anyone's seen these 18 shows and wants to write trivia for me and Jordan to go head to head in them,
oh no,
we should like find someone that's seen these shows, but like write questions about these 18 shows.
Yeah, Malcolm, and then we'll
Malcolm,
forget. We'll both forget by the time he asks us next year.
It's true, but I think that'd be fun to like go head to head in our shows that like we've watched. But no, catch me on things. I'm kind of week to week nowadays. I pop in here and out of there, from the bushes. That's my deal.
Well, from the bushes, also from me to you, like, subscribe, tell a friend. Let me know in the comments what else we should count down on this show. Might still have one or two more 2022 things, and then we're kind of done with that. And maybe an anticipation will come out at some time as well. So, and hey, you know what? Maybe if Brandon's not, maybe you'll see us here back again in July talking about what we like in
I'll
the
be
best of
upset if you pick
2023.
anybody but me.
Yeah. I've been threatened, and I'm a weakling, and I don't want to get hurt. So he'll be here in July for sure. Well, yeah, I'm sure you'll see him way before that in trivia as another countdown. We'll find another thing to rank down at some point as well. So yes, like, subscribe, tell a friend, tell an enemy. Thank you.